and I'm going to be doing a live League of Legends lineup construction video where I build my lineups live and go through my process. Unfortunately, the timing is not as good as I thought it was going to be. What I was hoping to do is spend about a half hour building the lineups and talking about it, and then as the slate locked, I was going to be looking at the results, meaning how many dupes we had, what good lineups look like and things like that. But I don't know what it was. I just miscalculated when the start time was. I thought it was midnight tonight Eastern, but it's actually 1 a.m. Eastern. So we're not going to be able to hang around to examine the dupes and things like that. We won't be here straight until lock, and I'm not going to hang around an hour and a half for that. So we are just going to spend the time going through the lineup construction. And again, I'd like to, hashtag make LOL great again. I'd like to do some live sweats as well. The problem is again, the timing of these slates is so rough. They end at about 5 in the morning, sometimes my time, and I'm just not up. Every once in a while, if we can squeeze one in, 8 a.m., maybe I'll do it. And at a time like this where I could, maybe do a lineup construction video, I'm going to do it. But hopefully some of the other experts in the field want to come on with me and maybe help with this sort of project here. Now, with these particular lineup construction videos, I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing, and it's really for my own benefit also to kind of talk through it. You'll see how this is from tonight. I actually had really back-to-back great nights in the NBA. Yesterday, I won a FanDuel tournament for like 50, and today I got second in the GPP in the lottery here for 25. So we're definitely running hot. So I'm just going to go through the slate a little bit and just really go through my process. So the first thing is I'm going to look at the slate and see what's going on. Now you say, what the hell does that mean? Well, okay, how many games are on the slate? So you have a 3-game slate. Thunder Talk and JDG, DK and Gen G, and Ninja and Pajamas and Anyone's Legends. And it's not often you get 3-game slates that are at this time. So what does that mean? Well, it means you can approach it a little differently. Like, you don't have to get as cuckoo with the lineup. Hey, what's up, Sean? As you would in a 2-game slate. You don't have to. Yeah, you're probably going to have dupes, but you might not get like that 72 dupe train, winning the GPP. The other thing about this particular slate is you have like 10K for first, so that's really, really big. The other thing is that it looks like, so they're allowing 70 entries in this. That's not great, because then it's a little more likely than all the possibilities or the good ones are covered. But that's okay, because one thing that's cool about this slate is you look at the implied odds for all 3 of these games. They're all matchups. They're all very, very competitive. JDG at a -200 favorite is the biggest favorite on the whole slate. Then you have a basic pick'em between Danwan, Kia, and Genji, and then Anyone's Legends is only -150 over Ninja Pajamas. So you're going to get people that are going to be going for all kinds of combinations, which and there's going to be reasonable combinations, which is really, really neat. So what I like to do on slates like this is I really don't want to play anything but 4 threes on slates like this. So I just don't think you have to. I mean, they're naturally always worse, but sometimes in say 2-game slates, you have to do what you have to do to get unique. But in a 3-game slate like this, especially when you have 3 close to pick 'em matchups, I think that you can get away with only playing 4 threes and make it work. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to build our lineups here, and we're not going to build 5,000. We don't have to do that, but we'll build 1,200 just so we have them. And where'd you want to come on here, RDJ? Let's see. Hold on a minute. Let me get in there. Whoa, what is this? Oh, you're saying I have a few questions. Oh, this is the real coach. Yo, what up? Oh no, this is not the real coach. You followed by the real coach. Yeah, no, I don't questions for any of this. I thought you might wanted to come on here, RDJ. No problem. Just ask whatever questions that you want. Honestly, you don't. What I was going to say is, if there was somebody that wanted to do lineup construction with me on here, that I would give them presenter things. But let's stick to the questions for now, I suppose. So for the first thing that you'll note is that I did not pre-build restrict things to 4-3s. What I like to do is wait until I build first and then pare it down after that. This way, I don't really get just atrocious lineups to kind of choose from. Now, as far as like these projections, I mean, these are just kind of mine, combination of me looking at the industry. I actually, just to be blunt, I also really, really respect the Gelati LOL podcast. I listen to that all the time. I pay for that on the Patreon, and he is legit the best. And I'll actually change my takes and my projections a little bit based on what he says in his podcast. So I don't really want to give away what he says on his podcast because it's not free. But let's just say that I do incorporate his takes into my work. Well, let's just see, Sean. Let's see what it looks like without doing anything. Okay, like without restricting anything. So we're building these, and this is what like 40 lineups, the top 40 lineups would look like without making any adjustments. So what does that mean without making any adjustments? Let's just see. Let's first take a look at if you rank them by, this is technically a small slate, right? Right in here. Let's see what it would look like. Well, first of all, as far as exposures, you would get about 90% JDG, and then 50% AL, 34% Ninja and Pajamas, etc. You get 0 of Gen G at all. I mean, this is those raw basic, build, which I would never use. But just to kind of show what a lot of people might get to. The other thing I want to see is what stack exposure this is. So this stack exposure does get mostly 4-3s. So that is good to see that it gets to them organically. So what's wrong with this? Now, okay, I love SaberSim. They're awesome. But, I mean, I've just found that this stock, lineup builder or lineup constructor or whatever you call it, doesn't provide enough uniqueness and ownership fade for my liking. Okay, so when you see a kind of a lineup breakdown like this is usually going to be too chalky for me. And you'll see. I mean, look, you have JDG who's a 2-1 favorite, and you have 90% owned. I mean, and then the next highest one is anyone's Legends. I mean, this doesn't seem particularly earth shattering. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine this being a good way to play GPPs, to play this kind of dispersion. The other thing I will mention that my takes that I want to impart on this lineup build that I'll put in after I do the actual lineups is, number one, I agree with somebody said here about Thunder Talk. Sean likes Thunder. I like Thunder Talk a little bit as well. So what that just means is that, all else being equal, I will give Thunder Talk exposure a little bit of a bump. And it's good to see that the stock lineups are going to get all this JDG, which means you're probably going to get a decent amount of leverage playing Thunder Talk. And the other thing I'm going to probably do is I'm going to overweight this DK Gen G game. The LCK has been just really delivering as far as kills go. And it used to be that it would be the opposite. It used to be that LPL would be known as the, whenever you'd have multiple league slates like this, you wouldn't even play LCK, but it just changed. And whenever you could play an LCK matchup, it still has this kind of, I don't know, this reputation as being slower, but it's just not. So like you'll see here, that if you just build normally, you'd get 0 Gen G and maybe very little DK. And I consider that a good thing, because if I'm getting to this so quickly, that's what a lot of people are get to real quickly. So whatever we do with our sims and whatever, it's going to be nice to see DK Gen G in my lineups. Also, as I mentioned, since I like Thunder Talk, I do. It's going to be nice to see Thunder Talk in my lineups. I don't know if I'm going to actually force them in, but let's just say I'll be much more liberal about accepting them. So the next thing that you have to do is figure out how to build your sims. In other words, what I like to do is I build my 1,200 lineups in the pool, and then I will sim those lineups against what I feel the field is going to do. Now, in a lot of sports, they give you a lot of options to select what fields to predict that the field is going to do. But in League of Legends, there really, for me, only 2 options. Number one is you could use the regular Saber Sim ownership field, okay? And it's already, whatever the ownership of Saber Sim is, that's what's going to really reflect the field to some degree. The other thing that I have to do, by the way, before I forget, is in the Triumphant Warrior, I do have to put in this data. How many people are in this tournament? Oh, actually only 10 in the Triumphant Warrior. So it could sim that right. Okay. So that's one thing you could do. The other thing you could do, and we're going to try both of them, is instead of simming against this stock, by the way, you want to see what this looks like? So this is what the stock Saber Sim field would look like. In other words, this is the presumed ownership of the Saber Sim, stock field. So if you feel that this kind of represents what people are going to do, then you could use this as a field. The other thing that you can do, which I think is kind of interesting for League of Legends, is you can use your 1,200 lineups as the representative field. Okay. Now, I made 2,300. There's 2,352 entrants, and I only made 1,200 lineups, but that's fine because they're going to be a bunch of dupes anyway. So one thing you could also do is sim your lineups against whatever your build is, right? So you're almost, simming it against yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at both variations and see what they look like. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sim this against the regular Saber Sim ownership. And we're going to see what this looks like. So you just hit this button right here. And then we're going to see. You like your ninja in pajamas guy, X's? Okay. So that was quick. And you'll see when you go to stack exposures, under team stack, now it looks a lot different, right? Now you're getting 68% DK, 46% AL, and then you're only getting 35% JD. You're still not getting a lot of Gen G, though, which is a little bit disturbing. Now, it could be just because of the pricing. It just makes it difficult to get there. But the other thing I noticed is right off the bat, this first lineup here is a 4-2-1. So let's see how many 4-2s you get. So here you would get 8 4-2s, which we really just don't want. So what you would do is literally just take the check, uncheck this, hit apply, and then it just replaces that one with some 4-3s. Then we go back and check this. And, this is good. It actually gave you a little bit more Gen G. So the only problem with this, I shouldn't say problem, is that you're only getting 14% Thunder Talk, and maybe you'd want a little bit more. But again, I don't want my takes to overwhelm, the Saber Sim and the projections too much. So I might just leave it like this. And then the next thing I would do is I would just go in to the players, just make sure that I don't have any like team and the captain or anything like that. No, these are all very, very, very general lineups, like ADC and the captain, jungle and the captain, etc. Okay, so there's no problem with that. The other thing that you can do is if you really want to, try to get even more unique, you could try to force in low ownership by doing geo mean filtering. Okay, and what that is literally telling the algorithm to only give you lineups that are within a certain ownership range. And the way you figure that out, for those of you that are here for the first time, first thing you have to figure out is what geo mean you're looking for, and then kind of how to calculate it. Actually, the reverse. I'll show you what I mean. So this contest, it has 2,352 entrants. So I have it already here, and also on the site as well, a geo mean calculator. Now they will have this. I'll show you where to find this on. I'll show you where to find this on SaberSim as well. But so, it's already saved 2,352 entries. So if you only want, say, for example, one dupe, you're going to want to have a maximum geo mean of 27.4. So what you're going to do is you could filter your lineups to make sure your geo mean is less than that. Now, as you see right now, I mean, these are already really, really low. I mean, check out some of these lineups. I mean, these are leaving money on the table. Look, there's 47.5 left, and then the geo means here are really, really low. So because we sim these, I mean, this is doing a really, really good job of giving you some good low owned lineups. This is actually pretty cool. So hold on a second. So this is actually a pretty good build. So what I'll do for now, we'll save these to the contest, and then we're gonna do the same thing with the other one. So we'll save the double buff and the Triumphant Warrior. We'll put them both in. And if you use SaberSim, you'll see this automatically down. You can automatically download these straight into DraftKings. And then we're gonna do something else pretty cool with the spreadsheet before we do the same thing with the other fields. What you could do here, if you didn't want to go through this route, this is actually kind of cool. You could take your whole pool which you built. So here's your 1,200. I think this is pretty cool. And you could download, what do you get, the whole 1,200 here? Let's see. Pool, download the CSV. And then what you could do is you could get a pretty cool look at everything that's going on with all these lineups. So you can see, where your higher geo mean lineups are, for example. So if you want to filter those out. And then you can also take a look and see if they're predicting a bunch of dupes for some of these. So if you wanted, for example, if you went in and you'd have to sort this, I'm sure you could do it straight from the site as well. And let's say you wanted to get rid of all of these, highly duped lineups. You can go for it. You could just come here and say max, max dupes 5. Take those out. And then what you could do is you re-rank them by ROI again. And then you're kind of in business, So this is literally just another way you can play. The only thing this doesn't do, so this is not separating the 4-2s from the 4-3s. So you might get some 4-2s doing this. So what you'd have to do if you want to use this technique is what I said not to do, meaning to pre screen for 4-3s. Don't build anything at all that doesn't have 4-3s. So we'll actually do that, I think, with the other setting, and just to kind of show you how that can work. So let's instead of using the SaberSim ownership, okay, let's use build 2, okay. And what that is the lineups that we just built. We're going to compare our lineups basically to ourselves here. Okay. So it's just a little bit different. Let's put this in again. And just to see what those are, oh, it's not going to show you. Okay. But build to. Let's see how that changes things at all. Okay. So now when we do it that way. Now we get actually more anyone's legends near the top. Okay. Followed by JDG. So this is again a pretty contrarian way to build today, and I kind of like it. Okay, so it's just gonna be a question of whether you I'll get to that conflict. It's just a matter of what you have more faith in, your own ownership projections or Saber Sims. And I go back and forth with those. So you're saying what's the max salary you can leave on the table? So this is a little, I don't want to say controversial, but the way I play DFS, I mean, I have a lot of faith in my tools in Saber Sim or whatever other sim products I use. So I never put a minimum or maximum salary into the fields. If I get a lineup that leaves 12,000 on the table, it's because it got there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say this lineup is no good because it left 12,000 on the table. If I'm getting to those organically, I'm gonna keep them. I used to do things like put max salary, like total, for example, to try to get unique, but I found that was a little bit fraudulent. So I don't really like doing that. So it's really just a question of whether, we liked to use our ownerships or Saber Sims. It looks very, very similar as far as our exposures go. The only thing I might consider, again, is just maybe giving Gen G a little bit of a boost here. That's the one difference, right? Was that in the other build we were getting more whatchamacallit, more DK. Now the other problem with this build is this flies in the face of XXX's takes. Because he's a big Ninja in Pajamas guy, and I'm getting 65% anyone's legends. But the good thing about getting a lot of the anyone's legends in that last game is that I actually have a shot to watch that one. That game might still be going, at least when I'm might be going when I'm away. So it's just a question. I really don't know exactly what I want to do. I know that we're going to get some JDG, but I don't know which one I want. I don't know which build I want to try. I'm sticking with the first one for now, but I want to try to do what I said, and I want to rebuild with just the 4-3s. So we'll go back to where players, and we'll go to stack exposure, and we'll put in a minimum of 100%, right, of 4-3s, and then I'm gonna rebuild. So we're gonna rebuild everything, which is 4-3s, and the reason why I'm gonna do that is I want to see what it would look like. Like try to analyze that spreadsheet and build that way, and build by first eliminating dupes, followed by resorting by ROI. Because that other way it worked, but I just didn't know what those lineups looked like. And then I would have probably uploaded them and saw that like 9 of them are 4-2s, and I'd have to figure out what to replace them with. So it's not particularly clear. So it's just going to take a few minutes. I don't think there's any risk of anybody being subbed out, although you never do know. So I'm interested. So Sean, you were saying that you were getting some with some Thunder Talk one-offs. I mean, that's just listen. I know people that win like that. I just I don't know the way I know League of Legends DFS. I mean, just correlation is just so strong that unless you're really playing a 2-game slate, or listen, if you're playing cash or something like that, then maybe. But I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could play a one-off there. So you're overweight on DK. Yeah, I just think that whole series rates to score a bunch, and straight more than people might think. So, being overweight either of those teams, I think is I think it's a good idea. All right, so 1 second. And again, we have to do that same question: is whether we use our sim against our lineups or sim against the Saber Sim fields. I think we're going to stick to the Saber Sim fields. That's been really good to me in basketball the last 2 nights. But last night I wanted the FanDuel one just using the Saber Sim stock fields, and tonight I almost took down the whole thing in DraftKings with the. Oh, have you really? Oh, awesome, Sean. Hey, listen, it's perfect. Okay, so let's just run the Sims first, and we're going to use, let's see, contests. We're going to use, no, we're not going to use build 2. We're going to use field lineups, Saber Sim ownership, and this one we use Saber Sim ownership. And then we're going to go, again, this one we always have to change for some reason, the Triumphant Warrior. 35, and we'll call it 20, whatever. And then back to here. And then run. Okay. Thanks, Jolly. All right, so you have all 4 threes, and I'm not even going to look at what these are. Okay, this is just a new thing that I kind of started working on. Is that I want to take the whole pile. I know I have 4 threes, and download them all and pick them out this way. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do a combination of low dupes and good ROI and good chances to win, right? So let's again take this spreadsheet, we'll filter it out, and then we'll take a look at that thing we were looking at for. So what is this? That's a single entry. This is the sim dupes, okay, for the double buff. So we will sort by dupes, and you'll see that all these are 17, whatever it is. So let's only play lineups with less than less than what? 5 dupes. 5 dupes or less. Okay. So we'll start with that. Boom. And then Geomean is going to be good. And then we should probably just resort by ROI here. Either by ROI or even by, I wouldn't say just by points, but I think ROI is good because ROI, first of all, is supposed to consider dupes anyway. So this is a pretty aggressive way to try to take down all of it, If you just went by ROI, as you saw, you were still getting some pretty unique lineups. But here we have, I don't know, but here is probably extra juicy. So we could do this. We could just take these 40 and put those, we could just do it this way. Edit. And then we could put them in this way. And again, we don't know who we have yet, but I think that's okay. So that's another thing that you can do. And there's so many ways you can play. You said, do you like DK versus J? I don't know. I like them both. I play both. So now we can see what my exposure would be if I played this way. View exposures. Mostly DK, actually. Keep on getting this DK for some reason. And then AL, as far as captain, it doesn't list by captain. As far as team goes, again, a lot of Donwa, some JDG as well, some Gen G. Yeah, so this is actually, this is supposed to be. Now this one is weird. You think that this would be a little more unique because we filtered out the dupes or whatever, but I think that other bill was even more kooky. That the one that left all that money on the table. We'll see. Oh, these are the cool ones. The ones that leave have 2,500 left, 2,300 left, 2,700 left. All right, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. 4,600 left on the table. Now we're in business, like these bad boys. Okay. And that's basically all that I do. I just want to turn you guys on to one other site. And again, I was going to do this, but I thought we'd be locking now. The sports projection site that I look at, it's kind of misnamed. But what this does, it allows you to analyze lineups for uniqueness. Now, you won't be able to see it now because it hasn't locked yet. But if it were here, you'd be able to put your lineups in here, and then you'd be able to see, the uniqueness, and you'd be able to look at other competitors to see how unique their lineups are and things like that. I guess that's pretty much all that I have. I'm still up. I'm probably gonna do my UFC lineup construction video. I'm gonna record that one, and that's it. I'm out tomorrow. Actually, Mrs. Sheets and I are going to Mohegan to see Billy Joel before he dies of old age, and probably back Sunday, and but I'll be sweating the UFC, that's for sure. All right, that's gonna do it. Yeah, that looked like no an IP in that one. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Hope this helped somebody. Hope it didn't bore that many people. And